Hey everyone. Today I'd like to cover finger independence. And I've read and heard a lot of information about developing finger independence over the years, and it's another area where I think that the information that's out there is not well developed enough. So I don't know about you, but most of the exercises that I've seen for developing finger independence are along the lines of these kinds of chromatic exercises with hammer-ons and pull-offs. And they're okay, but I think that the biggest problem with those exercises is that they're developed by people who already have a lot of finger independence, and I think they're overly complex for people who are just trying to start developing the kinds of coordination needed to be able to move different fingers in different directions at the same time. So what I'd like to do here is present some alternate, simpler methods that I think will help you develop finger independence quicker and with a lot less frustration than trying to do the kinds of exercises that I just showed you. So the simplest thing that you can possibly do, but also probably the most important, is to get used to the weights and balances of your arm and your hand and your fingers as they relate to fretting a note with any of your fingers. So you can grab a note with your first finger, any string, any fret at this point, and just fret that note and stay aware of the weight of your arm as it pulls your finger into the fretboard. Make sure that you can move your other fingers. And if you can't, that probably means that some part of your arm, hand, or finger is, quote unquote, holding on too tight. And for me, the problem always manifested itself right here. Your mileage may vary with this, but staying aware of this is what you're gonna need to do to be able to figure out if you do have a problem, where it is and how to kind of untie that knot that might exist. This tip joint right here was always holding on too tight. And if you do that, take this joint and make it rigid, you'll notice that it makes the rest of your hand rigid along with it. So one of the things that I do when I work on finger independence in this way is make sure that I've got my finger extended enough and I've got the weight of my arm positioned in such a way that I don't have to hold on by kind of pinching the neck between my thumb and my finger. Most of the force pulling my finger into the fretboard is weight, and I'm just kind of using my finger to hold everything in place so that this is counterbalanced by this. And then each finger will feel different. So find that balance point where you can move your shoulder, you can move your wrist, you can move your other fingers, and the joints of your finger are not holding on in such a way that everything becomes the claw. Now I have kind of a strangely shaped hand. I have really, really long first, second, and third fingers, and I have a fourth finger that is a lot shorter and also set deeper into my hand. So for me, I need to compensate a little bit for my fourth finger. And one of the challenges that I have is that when I'm using my fourth finger and I need to go from my fourth finger to either my third or my second, to not get my third or my second finger so crunched up that it tightens up the rest of my hand. So finding that balance point for my fourth finger, and then going back to my third finger. And your body will get comfortable with this. This becomes muscle memory too. The comfort associated with finding that balance point for each finger is very, very important. Now, once you have that, you can start switching from finger to finger. So there's different combinations from 1 to 4. And the goal here is to go from comfortably balanced finger to comfortably balanced finger. 1 to 3. Now I want to make sure when I'm doing this that all the comfort that I had when I was just fretting one finger is still there. And this is the kind of the next step in finger independence. I'm moving from finger to finger. Can I do that in such a way that moving one finger does not adversely affect what's going on with my other fingers? And go 1 to 2. 2 to 3. And once again, the important thing here is to feel the weights and balances of your arm and your hand shift, because going from the tip of one finger to the tip of another finger is going to change that. You're balancing the weight of your arm on the tip of one of your fingers. And when you change to another finger, that balance point changes. So this is something else that you kind of need to teach your body how to feel. Here's 3 to 4. Now, once I'm comfortable with this, notice I haven't been picking any of these notes yet. When we first start doing this, we want to make sure that we isolate the left hand. Take all of our brain and focus it on this one thing that we're trying to do. Now, once we get comfortable with this, we can start picking the notes that we're playing. So we're introducing more complexity, which is why we want to wait till we're a little more comfortable. So if you want to do just a 1, 2, 3, 4 or 4, 3, 2, 1 kind of exercise, or 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, even though we're picking, we still want to make sure that we can feel that weight shifting, and that no matter what finger we're using, or no matter what combination of fingers where we're switching from finger to finger, it's not doing this to our hand. Also want to make sure that the presence of our picking hand is not making our other hand do this, because if your picking hand goes claw, your fretting hand is very likely to go claw along with it. Once you're comfortable with that, you can start introducing a metronome. Notice I haven't mentioned a metronome to this point. Metronomes are important, but when you first start trying to get your brain and your body trained to feel what this shifting weight feels like, it's really important to not have a metronome there to force you to go from finger to finger before you're ready. But once you do have those movements comfortable, then it is important to start working with some sort of rhythmic pulse. Not so that you can play too fast. We still don't want to be forcing ourselves to play faster than we're capable of playing, because that's going to be counterproductive. But the rhythmic pulse is a big deal. And you want to get used to being able to play with a click. So set that metronome somewhere where you're comfortable and go from there. So those are some finger independence tips, and I hope that they help you to build up coordination in your left hand. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.